I literally just ended my last vlog and we're just gonna roll into the intro of the new one. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Kaylee, welcome back to my channel. This week on Dog-Eared Page, no, just kidding. I just want to talk about what I have going on right now, and hopefully when I update you next I'll have more to say about things, but I am currently reading The Green Glass House by Kate Milford. I am reading this with Amy over at All of the Lovely Books. I will have a link down below. She gifted this to me, and so we are buddy reading it together. This is a middle grade mystery kind of fantastical element story about a little orphaned adopted Chinese boy who lives with his parents in an inn they own that has been handed down in the parents' family. And all these guests arrive during winter break when they're supposed to be on vacation, and the guests are all a little strange, and his name is Milo. He's trying to figure out what is going on. So far I'm very invested in it. It's whimsical and fun and cute, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I have some theory about one of the characters I mentioned in the last vlog. I feel like his friend that is helping him with this mystery, no one else seems to be addressing her, and she doesn't speak directly to anybody, so I'm thinking that she doesn't really exist, or there's some weird story to her, or she's part of the house. I don't know what it is, but I definitely think that she is not real human. Really liking this. I'm 40% through exactly, and we should finish this on Monday, so I'll definitely have this done by this week, by the end of this vlog. I'm in the middle of Princess Jellyfish Volume 6. Yeah, 6, I keep forgetting. I'm not going to tell you the synopsis because I've talked about it a lot, and I definitely talked about it in last week's vlog, but I am just trying to get through the Princess Jellyfish that I've owned for a year now, because I love the first grouping so much that I just bought the whole set, and it's I love the colors. I don't know. I'm giving a whole synopsis that I don't need to. I'm enjoying this. This will definitely get done this week. This weekend I'm starting a buddy read with Lacey over at Lacey D. Bell, and that is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. This is a story. It's a historical story written in the 1930s, the South, where our character is writing basically one of those Dear Abby stories, and she starts getting very political within her responses, and it sets off some people in the South, and they go on a manhunt to find out who the actual anonymous writer is, and it poses a lot of problems for her because she is obviously not American and she's in the South and she's a woman. So there's a lot of different things, and I'm sure that she's going to face a lot of adversity, and it's going to be pretty scary for her, and I'm excited to get into it. And lastly, I am chugging through 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. This is standard Haruki Murakami. A lot of weird shit happening, a lot of things that don't make any sense right now, and probably won't in the end anyway. But it is weird, and it is great, and I really love his writing, and I do intend in my lifetime to read all of his published works, but this is one of his most famous, along with another favorite is Kafka on the Shore, and my personal favorite is one that isn't the most famous of his works, but colorist Sakuro Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage is one of my absolute favorites. It's the first one I ever read from him, so maybe it's nostalgia and I'd like to reread it sometime. But I've been a fan since I started reading him, probably back in 2016. But it is definitely a specific kind of audience. So I'll talk more about it another date, but school's starting soon, so I need to get downstairs and make breakfast before that. And yes, that's it for me right now. What more can I say? Not a whole lot. It's Friday, week 2 of the Asian Readathon. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will check in with you soon. What's up? It is Monday, 2:15 on Monday. I tried to make that TikTok famous Dalgona coffee. I got the consistency right. I haven't tried it yet though, and I'm just gonna mix it. It's not aesthetically pleasing. I'm not very good at any of that kind of thing, nor do I have time to be. But we're gonna try it. And I'm gonna talk about books while I do this because I'm gonna sneeze. Had to look at myself to do that. Okay, I went out today for the first time. I just ran errands. I went to H Mart because I can't get tofu anywhere, which is one of my main sources of protein. I went to Target to get essentials that we needed. It was weird going out, but here we are. The Green Glass House. Let's get on track. Let's talk about books. Amy and I both agreed that it was kind of all over the place. I think that we're both ending up giving it 4s on Goodreads, but it's more of a 3, 3.5 for the both of us. But yet again, this falls into, it's middle grade, it's not my wheelhouse, it wasn't written with me in mind as the audience, so I have to like take that into consideration when I put my Goodreads reviews up. So I gave it a 4 on there, but personally this is probably 3.5. This was a mystery story, and the thing that was difficult about it is you don't really know what the mystery is until the very end. Like, you're not really sure where the book is going. And also there are a lot of characters to juggle, and right in like the last third you're introduced to even more characters that really didn't serve, in my opinion, much of a purpose to the story. They didn't further the plot specifically by existing within the story. Their stories are told before they arrive, or at least one of them, and that was enough. There didn't need to be physical evidence of this person existing. Like, there was too much juggling. I feel like the book, like, I'm as convoluted in my brain about this book as the book was convoluted. There didn't need to be as much tackled as was attempted to be tackled. It wasn't bad. The writing was good. Amy used the word atmospheric, which I totally agree with. That's probably why in the beginning I said I really like the story so far, because it's taking place at an inn and it's all in one area. I'm really down with those kinds of stories. It makes me want to read The Shining again, or like watch something like The Cabin in the Woods. But overall, I think it was okay. Definitely not my favorite middle grade, but it's a good one, and it's one of those that I'm happy that I own a copy, because when my kids start reading middle grades, this is something that I think especially my oldest will enjoy. So I am very grateful. Amy did buy me this copy, and then we read it together. And later in the year, probably late summer, we will read Kill Creek together, which she also purchased for me as a surprise gift during this quarantine. And I'm really looking forward to that one. It's just, I got a lot already on my plate in June. And then at the end of June, so many books are coming out that I'm like highly anticipating. The end of, I grabbed the second one. The City of Brass, the Dave Bad trilogy ends June 30th. It comes out. Also, I don't believe it's in, where is it? It's not in reach. The third book in the Lifelike series by Jay Kristoff will be out. And it's funny, I've kind of fallen out with Jay Kristoff and his writing. I really, if you've been here a while, Nevernight and God's Grave are two of my favorite, like one of my, how do I say this? They fall into some of my favorite fantasies ever, but then Dark Dawn, not so much. And The Illuminate Files is one of my favorite series as well, YA sci-fi, but Aurora Rising was a huge letdown for me. And I know that Aurora Burning just came out, and I'm not, it's on my wish list, but it's not something I'm like gunning to read. And I had initially put a hold on it at the library for a physical copy when it came out, but because everything shut down, I don't know when, if I will ever get it. So there's that. But that said, Lifelike was okay. And then I really really liked Deviate a lot. So I'm hoping that this finale isn't a letdown, but June 30th for that. I know there's one or two others, but I can't think of them. Also, I hauled a couple books, but of course I left one downstairs. This is because Allie over at, she changed her channel name, and also she's on a hiatus. And it makes me sad. She's one of my favorite booktubers. But Allie Corvair talked about this on Twitter, and I got it because she said this is like one of the best Arthurian type fantasies that she's read, and that's The Lost Queen by, I don't know if I pronounce this right, Sign Pike. I should probably look that up. Huh? How do you pronounce that name? I'm really gonna need to look that up. It's an Irish name. I'm Irish, partially. In any case, got this because what I really went to Barnes & Noble to order was Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, her newest book in verse. And Allie had just talked about this, so I like to like look and see if there are any deals. And the hardcover for this was $8. Even the paperback was more expensive. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna try and read this in June maybe. Well, we'll see. But yeah, so on that note, I also got Clap When You Land. Who knows when I'm gonna get to these books. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I will start talking about this next, which is a buddy read I started this weekend with Lacey over at Lacey D. Bell. This is our second buddy read together. Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. So we got to 50 pages by the end of the weekend, and today our goal is 100, more or less. But this is a lot quippier than I expected it to be. Like, the narrator's voice is very funny, and she's got a very unique way of looking at things and reacting to them. So I am very much enjoying the voice of this story. It's about a girl who is Chinese. It's 1890, so no one wants to rent to Chinese people. They think they're like dirty and they don't like that they're foreign, all of that kind of racism you'd expect in a book about the 1890s and a young Chinese girl. Now that going in, it's very much racially driven. She loses her job in the very first chapter. She works as like she works at a hat shop making hats. And it's something that she's very interested in doing as a career. So losing the job is very upsetting to her. But then she decides that she is hidden living below a printing press and she can overhear the conversation that happens within the press through like, it seems like a pipe, and hears that they're trying to find a person to write, what is it called? Like Dear Anne stories or whatever, where, you know, someone writes in and says, I have this problem, and then like the columnist will write back the solution. And she sends anonymously a like letter saying, I'd like to do this for the magazine as long as I get to stay, or the newspaper, as long as I get to stay anonymous. So we're gonna see how the fallout goes for that. And I am really liking the quippy and humorous voice that she has. Lacey pointed out that she thinks it's a little slow paced. So far it hasn't really affected me, though I can see why she thinks that. It did take until page 50 for her to finally get to I wrote this letter to ask for this job, since that's kind of like the core concept of this book. I guess 50 pages in is a relatively long way to go before you get there. But so far, I don't really have any other qualms with the story, and I'm enjoying it. Tomorrow, I don't have the book up here, but also one of my subscribers, Bethany, asked if she could do a buddy read with me because she's never done a buddy read before, and I gave her all the books that I intend to read this month, as well as a couple for next month. And so tomorrow, we're actually going to start Jade City by Fonda Lee, which is the book that I just bought last week, and I am really anticipating enjoying, that I bought solely because of this like Twitter feud that was happening on. It wasn't really a feud, it was a conversation about women being marginalized and put into YA categories, even if they write very adult fantasies. And she pitched her book in a paragraph that made me buy it. So we're going to start that tomorrow. So those are the two books that I'll be buddy reading for the next week or so. Lastly, I am still listening, but I am like so proud of my progress to 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. I've read all of this. I'm literally just starting book 3, so it's a 3-book series. This is the bind-up of all of them. It wasn't really a series, I don't believe. It wasn't like it was published and then there was a second book published and then the third book published. I think it was all written at once and published at once. Don't quote me on that. I think that's how it was. There's some really cool there's some really cool additions you can get with the 3 different that like make I don't know. Going on a tangent. I bought this because I wasn't sure if I'd like it. Haruki Murakami writes 4-star books for me most of the time, and otherwise it's too out there for me and I just don't really get it, and I was afraid this would be one of those books that just didn't speak to me. Well, that's not the case. I am loving this so much. It is, I've said before, super fucking weird. We're at a point where, like, I don't think this is spoilery, but in case it is, possible spoilers ahead until I put the book down. I've said before that there are 2 storylines you're following. There's Tango and then Umami. Tango is like a writer, and he has rewritten this work for a younger girl that has been published under published under her name. He's got like no real ties to it, but it's created this like chaos in his life. And then Umami is like a person that's basically an assassin, but all this weird shit is happening in her world and she's calling it 1Q84. It's no longer 1984 to her. She's in this different world called 1Q84. She's trying to figure out how to get out of it. And we finally got to the point in the middle of book 2 where you figure out why these 2 characters are important and how they align. And now it's getting a little bit deeper into that and the relationship between the 2 of them and how they're trying to help the other without the awareness of each party helping the other. Does that make sense? It's very vague because I don't want to give any spoilers, but also because Murakami writes such weird storylines that it's very, very hard to tell you how the story is going without giving shit away and making it seem really weird, because there's this 1Q84 involves like otherworldly beings, and as I've said before, there are like 2 moons in this world, and it's just, you don't really, he really blurs the line between reality and fantasy. Not fantasy in terms of like what we call fantasy as readers, but like surrealism. There's a really blurred line. So you as a reader still don't even really know like what's happening and what's not happening. And that's something that he's very good at doing in every single thing I've ever read. What it's doing for me though is make me want to go back and read the works that I've already read by him. I recently read Norwegian Wood, so I wouldn't do that, but like I kind of want to revisit Kafka on the Shore, and I kind of want to revisit Colorist Sakura Sasaki, because these are books that I've read before and had an impact on me, but they were like, what year? Like 4 years ago, so I feel like I would get something different since I've read so much more from him since then, so we'll see. But that's where I'm at. Those are the 3 books that I will be, this and The Downstairs Girl and Jade City, now that the Green Glass House is done. I still haven't finished the volume of Princess Jellyfish, but I'm not really like worried about it because it's a manga, so I will get it done eventually. But that's the update. I'm gonna drink this coffee and I'm gonna put all my laundry away. We're still doing the minimal makeup May. Well, I did pre-order Suzanne Collins' new book, which I had debated, but I went for it. I also have Sprinkle of Sorcery should be coming at some point, but God knows when, because that was from Book Depository. I also have Mark Lawrence's new book, Girl May Have Stars, coming from Book Depository. And then my friend Jamie, who no longer has a channel and hasn't really been super active on Instagram either, but I will link her Instagram down below, wanted me to read the guest lists, her book of the month choice from April. And I went to add it to my cart for May, but because of COVID and shipping problems and whatnot, they limited your selection this month, and that included the guest list, so I couldn't use an add-on for it, and she wants me to read it, so she sent it to me. So I'm expecting that as well. So I will read that this month at some point. But any book I'm reading that's outside of the Asian Readathon isn't written by or featuring an Asian character or an Asian person, author, I won't talk about in the vlogs. I'll just talk about them in the wrap-up, just to keep this succinct, I guess. All right, I've been talking for 15 minutes. I gotta put some laundry away. And that's it. I will check in with you guys later. I'm extra shiny because I just did my face routine. Okay, so it is Friday morning, which means that technically my week ended yesterday. So let me update you on everything that I did this week, and we'll start a new weekly vlog after this. All right, so you already know that I finished the Green Glass House by Kate Milford, which was a buddy read with Amy over at All of the Lovely Books, who I'll have linked down below. I gave this 3.5, but I rounded up to a 4-star, I do believe. Now I don't remember because it's been a few days. Regardless, I finished this. My goal had been to finish 2 books this week, so I did in like early morning yesterday, finished Princess Jellyfish Volume 6 because this is the only one that I'd be able to squeeze in before the week ended, and I managed to do it. I gave it 5 stars. The one complaint I'll have about it at this point is that every single problem that our main characters run into get fixed miraculously, because these like really rich, very important men all seem to have this reason for liking the main character, who is, you know, like a total geek and doesn't really like know anything about society. She's just obsessed with jellyfish. So it's kind of, you really have to start suspending your disbelief in terms of the story progress, because 2 very rich men are in love with her, and then 1 other very rich man is in love with her ideas, and they all just keep bailing her and her friends out time and time again. So it's a little bit ridiculous, but I'm still having a lot of fun with it. And I am intending to, next week, this will be hopefully one of the books that I have finished by the end of week 3 of this readathon, so I will be starting that this week. So let's talk about what I'm actively reading right now, and I'm in the middle of 2 buddy reads. First, I will talk about the book that I'm not enjoying so much, because I'd really like to gush about the book that I am enjoying, and that's a buddy read I'm doing with Lacey over at Lacey D. Bell, and that is For the Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. This is a YA historical fiction that takes place in the 1890s. It's just not that great. Lacey said that if she was a teenager and read this book, she'd probably really love it, and I absolutely agree that I think teenage me would have liked the storyline and the pacing and the humor of it, but adult me is not loving it so much, and I don't think Lacey's really having a great time either. I'm a little bit behind. I didn't get to yesterday's pages yesterday. I had a really bad headache that I think was anxiety induced for a lot of random shit that happened yesterday, but I'll catch up today and do today's pages, and then we should be able to finish this by tomorrow. So you'll hear my end thoughts this, like, in the next vlog, obviously. But like, things are very conveniently happening. And I think our main character, for being a Chinese girl in the 1890s America, and the racism and the place she has in society, some of the things she says and does and gets away with, it just doesn't feel genuine. And it also feels very convenient a lot of the times that plot things happen. And there's just no real depth to any of the characters. I don't feel invested in anybody, particularly speaking. But yeah, like right now, she's got like a secret. She doesn't know who her parents are. She has been taken in by a man called Old Jin, who is clearly keeping secrets from her, regardless, like, or whether it's about his health and the fact that he's likely dying, we assume, or who her parents are, and the mystery of like this one guy that kind of lived with them at some point and has disappeared, and now she's trying to hunt that person down because she's got an idea that it's her father, but it might not be. There's just some weird subplots happening, and in the meantime, the storyline that I was really excited about was her writing these columns by Miss Sweetie anonymously for this newspaper, but it's very few and far between on the overall plot. That was what I really was looking forward to, so it's been kind of a letdown, and that's probably why I haven't heard a whole lot about this story since it's published. It's not awful, like I don't hate it, but it's probably going to be a 3-star for me. I am also very, very proud of myself because I have read so much of 1Q84. Literally, I think I'm 83% through, so I've got this much left. So I am anticipating having it done by the end of next week's vlog, so you'll be able to hear my overall thoughts on 1Q84. I can't even overstate how proud I am of myself to read this 1100 and something page book, especially in the time frame that I have. This is one of those books where I thought it would take me a couple months. I mean, the Wind Up Bird Chronicles is not even, it's not bad. Look at that. This took me 2 months. But the Wind Up Bird Chronicles had a lot more war, and when Murakami writes about war, it's like pages and pages of one paragraph, and that always takes me a while to get through, and it takes me out of the story, and there isn't really war in this one, which, thank God. Regardless, that's probably why I'm getting through it so much faster. It's still really weird, and I'm making connections that I think we're gonna see in terms of characters, because this spans so much. There's a lot of like time, not time jumping or time hopping or time travel, but there's a lot of fluidity between time and universe. People can like manifest their consciousness into times that don't exist to them in their reality. It's all over the place, but I'm really enjoying it. This might be my first 5-star Murakami, I believe. I think I've given everything else 4 stars. I'd have to double check that, but I'm really enjoying it, so I'm really proud of myself for doing this. And lastly, the book that I am so in love with so far. I am reading this with Bethany, such a sweet person. This is our first buddy read, and I do believe it's her first buddy read ever, and that is Jade War by Fonda Lee. If you saw my weekly vlog last week, you'll see I've already talked about this, I think, in my previous clip, that I was sold on this by Fonda Lee herself, you know, not to me personally, but it spoke to me, and I got the book. Like, it felt like fate. Like, I got this book because of Fonda Lee, and then it was like it would work for the next book that I was going to read, and it's speaking to my heart. I am on page 288, so probably just over halfway through. We should finish this Monday if all things work out, and I've already ordered Jade War, which is the sequel, and I'd assume there's going to be a 3rd book, which will suck to have to wait for, but this might be my favorite book of the month so far. And I think it'd be hard to beat, and obviously I still have a ways to go, but this is the kind of fantasy where I feel like it was written for me. If you read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang and you liked it, I would say that Jade City is also up your alley, or vice versa. If you've read Jade City and haven't read The Poppy War, the ideas behind the books is that it's like drug trades and families with power that kind of reign over the drugs, and there is a war that's brewing between clans because one clan, the Mountain Clan, no longer wants to be the like underdogs, you know, they want to take over this family's territory basically. And you've got like the main guy, the pillar, is the one brother, the oldest brother, his name is Lan, and his brother Hilo is his like wingman, basically. They've all got specific title names, but it would be too complicated to get into. And then they've got a younger sister, Shay. Now, I'm really waiting for Shay's glow up. I think that she's going to have a really important role in this book. We're halfway through and it hasn't really happened yet, but I have a gut feeling we're about to see Shay burst through the pages. Jade is a thing that only specific people in this world can wear, and when they wear it, they get powers, and they're more powerful humans. They're faster, they can deflect things, they can push power into people. Like, there's 6 different paths that can happen, but not everyone can wear Jade. Jade is like a drug to other people. They get addicted and they get very sick. They get what's called the itches, and it's kind of like protecting the Jade, but also there's money in it, and the people that can wear Jade also can't be exposed to too much of it. So when they're like mining Jade, a whole different clan of people have to mine the Jade for the wearers. And when you kill somebody that is a Jade wearer, you get to take their Jade and you're supposed to wear it, but like too much Jade is bad for you also. Like, there's just so many dynamics. The magic system is super, super cool. I am absolutely loving it. A gangster slash mob story that's a war over drugs. Perfect. And that's why I keep thinking of the Poppy War, because it's about the opium trade at its core, but there's also a whole lot more to it, and it's about clan wars and territory wars. So if you've liked one, then you'll like the other. I can almost guarantee it. And I'm really excited to finish this coming week, and hopefully my copy of Jade War will come in next week and I can start it. If not, I will probably focus my energy on Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng in the interim between Jade City and Jade War, because this is the group book and I'm only like 20% through. I've been reading it on my phone in ebook form, which means that I basically only read it right before bed, and I've been just so tired lately. My kids are still waking up aggressively early and then having to teach all day. Like, I don't know how teachers teach, honestly. Maybe it's different because they're teachers and kids don't really listen to the authority of their parents the same way. But by like 8 o'clock at night, I'm ready to go to bed, and I don't really put a lot of time into reading my ebooks like I normally do. I usually get like a chapter a night in, and it just isn't happening. But I'm also juggling a lot, so what can you do? So next week, we'll probably be finishing Jade City and The Downstairs Girl, and reading Princess Jellyfish Volume 7, and hopefully getting further into this, and finishing 1Q84. So I do have a lot. I do anticipate next week being an even more successful week because I'll have a lot of books finished. I've gone 2 for 2 books each week for 2 weeks. So I'm not doing too bad. And also, I mean, I'm reading an epic. So what can you expect? All right, I have got to go eat breakfast and get the kids ready to start their school day, so I'm going to cut it here. Let me know down below if you are participating and what you've read so far. What is your favorite book so far? Have you read Jade City, or have I convinced you to pick it up if you like fantasy similar to me? Because I really just don't hear a lot of people talk about Jade City, and I do believe it's a couple years old, but I still think I've been on BookTube for a couple years and I still haven't heard much about it. Maybe I'm just not following the right fantasy reading channels. I don't know. Let me know down below if you know someone that's got similar taste to me and I just don't know them. All right, thanks for being here, guys. I hope you're doing well. I know the weather's getting better, at least where I'm at. Hopefully we're all able to get out and get a little bit of sun and some vitamin D and help us with our mental states. I hope you're hanging in. Thinking of you. Thank you for spending your time with me. Like if you like this video, subscribe if you are new here and want to see more content from me. Post all my social media links down below. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. I hope that life's treating you well right now, and you know, all of that. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.